Okay, good morning everyone. We're on Yud Testament Aleph. So we're discussing Shechita. Picture here might help, might not help. So we're discussing this picture over here, which is the trachea, what we're calling the tabas agdola, the cricoid cartilage, the kova, the sheepoy kova, the slope. And the question is, we'll see, is do you have to, not that this means anything to me, but you have to shecht it over here in the tabas agdola. That's going to be the chachamim. You can go a little bit into the next part. That's going to be Rabbi Yossi. And you don't have to be inside that part at all. You could actually be even over here by the kova, by the slope. That's going to be the third opinion. Those are the three opinions. Says the Gemara. Rav Nachman achsher mishipoy kova lamata. Rav Nachman said that from the shipoy kova ulamata, again, lamata would be towards the body of towards the lungs. So from the shipoy kova lamata would be okay, which again would seemingly be the third opinion. Amar le Rav Chanan bar Rav Katina Rav Nachman kiman lo karabanan v'lo Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. It's not like the Rabbanan, and it's not like Rabbi Yossi, because again, according to the Rabbanan, the upper limit is the entire ring. That means the entire cut needs to be within the tabas hagdola at this specific spot in this ring. According to Rabbi Yossi, most of it needs to be in the ring. A little bit could be outside of the ring, and according to the third opinion, it could even be over here, higher up, again, towards the mouth of the animal, could even be near the sheepoy kova, near the slope of the thyroid cartilage. So it's none of those. Amar le ana lo chilek yadana, v'lo bilek yadana. You're right. I don't know anything about chilek. I don't hold like the chilek, the rabbis who permit dividing it into two rings, chilek to divide. I don't hold like bilek, which is Rabbi Yossi, that it needs to be destroyed. That means most of it has to be destroyed. Again, when you're cutting it like this, you're cutting it on an angle. So basically, the Rabbanan is saying you have to cut it straight over here. According to them, you can cut a little bit on an angle where you get most of it here and then a little bit in this part. According to them, you can cut the entire thing here. So I don't hold like that, I don't hold like that. You're right, I hold like the third opinion that could even be all the way to the right at the sheepoy kova, the slope. The Amar of Chia bar Abba Amar Yochanan, the Amar Lamar of Abba bar Zav, the Amar Bechanina, the Amar Lamar of Yaakov bar Idi, Amar Yoshua ben Levi, be sheepoy kova lamatik shera, even from the slant of the kova, the helmet, and below is going to be valid, even if it's not in or even mostly in the tabat hagdola. The Amar Yoshua ben Levi, Mugremes de Rabbanan, the one that's beyond that which the Rabbanan said, again, any part that's outside of the Tabas HaGedola, Kasher Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. It's still going to be kosher according to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, like we just said, because according to him, as long as most of the trachea is cut within the Tabat HaGedola, it's going to be okay. With Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Kasher Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos. And if it's past Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina, again, it'll be in this part, in the Sheepoy Kova, then Lamaisa, it's going to be valid, according to Rabbi Chanina. Says Gemara Pshita, we just finished telling you that. Shkoya, thank you, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, for telling me something that we just finished telling me. What's the Chiddush? Ma'odatem Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos ad Rabbanan kai kamash malan. Very interesting. So again, what is Rabbi Chanina coming? Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos is saying that a slanted cut, that's how we started, mishipoy kova lamatik shera, a slanted cut is kosher. So you could understand it, like we understand it, that it's going on what? It's going on Rabbi Yossi, and says, Rabbanan say it's got to be here. Rabbi Yossi says it could even be a little bit here, and he says a slanted cut, even if it's here, is fine. But he could be maybe going on the Rabbanan, not on Rabbi Yossi, and he could just be arguing on the Rabbanan that the whole thing doesn't have to be here, but maybe he actually says like Rabbi Yossi that most needs to be here, and on a slant a little bit can be here. How do you know that he's being so mekil? Says the Gemara, maybe he's being so mekil. When he came, he should have said, what? He should have said, the Gemara should have said, that a slanted cut is invalid. It should have said Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos testifies about it. It being the case that's mentioned right before, i.e. the Rabbanan. But since it didn't say he testified about it, he's not talking about the Rabbanan, he's talking about Rabbi Yossi's case, and he's saying even Rabbi Yossi is too machmir, and Lamaisi could be even more mekil. V'hofzak Rabbi Chanina ben Antignos, halacha zaykim, dekay Rav Nachman Kavase, that again, the halacha zaykim, that even if you don't cut it in the major, even if you don't cut it in the Tabas HaGedola, even if you don't cut most of it in the Tabas HaGedola, even if you cut it you reel the whole thing in the shipoi kova, it'll be okay. And again, I was actually asking, there's somebody in the first year who's involved in this stuff a little bit. So, it sounds like almost impossible to be able to cut it directly in the Tavas HaGedolah, the entire thing. He said, whatever, I won't tell you what he said. Says the Gemara, Amar Avuna Amar Avasi. Avuna said the name of Avasi. He said it's very difficult to ever cut it kosher. Machlokes b'sheshachat shnei shlish.
You mean
according to anybody. The dispute applies, he says it's very difficult to know exactly where to even cut it, even if you hold millimeters. And even if, for sure, if you're talking about the Tabas HaGedolah, even if you're talking about a little bit can be outside, but even if you're talking about this little spot about the shipoi kova, it looks like a big picture here, but when this is inside of the neck of the animal, to be able to cut it exactly, it says it's very difficult. So you really have to know what you're doing. Amar Funa Amar Vasi, Machloket b'sheshachat shnei shlish. This machloket again of Rabbi Yossi, again we're talking about Rabbi Yossi. Rechanina is out, he's megil. He says you could even cut outside of the Tabas HaGedolah. He could cut on the right side over here, towards the mouth. But now this machloket is Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan. So machloket b'sheshachat shnei shlish, v'higrim shlish. So what do you do here? You cut 2/3 inside of the Tabas HaGedolah, and then you slant 1/3 out. That's where the machlokes is going to be. That what? This is talking about. No. Well, again, according to Rabbanan, I'm not sure b'diavad. I'm not sure. It doesn't sound like Rabbi Yossi says that b'diavad. He's not. I don't even think he says that lechatchila it all has to be in the Tabas HaGedolah. I think he's saying that when you do the shechita, it can be as long as most of it is in the Tabas HaGedolah. Lechatchila, that's fine, right? That was Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Rabbi Baran say the whole thing has to be inside the Tabas HaGedolah. Rabbi Yossi says lechatchila. It sounds like most has to be in the Tabas HaGedolah, but some can be outside. And they say lechatchila the whole thing can be outside. So now we're talking about this machlokes of Rabbanan and Rabbi Yossi, the first two. So what's this machlokes? Where are they arguing? B'sheshachat shnei shlish. The first 2/3 are within the Tabas HaGedolah. So you start the cut in the Tabas HaGedolah. You do 2/3 of the cut in the Tabas HaGedolah, and 1/3, the remaining 1/3, is outside of the ring. Again, as Rashi explains, it doesn't have to necessarily be 2/3 and 1/3. It's just an example. It has to be 55.1% and 49.9% rove. According to him, even if you do 55.1%, it's going to be okay. So says the Gemara. Good morning. You're like 2 hours late for your regular time. Says the Gemara. The Rabbanan Savre, for the rabbis hold that kula shchita ba'inam b'tabas HaGedolah. Again, according to Rabbanan, according to this opinion, the entire shchita needs to be in the Tabas HaGedolah. So obviously, even if 2/3 is done in Tabas HaGedolah and 1/3 outside, it's not going to be okay. For Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Savar Rubo Kekulo, he holds that most of it is okay, and therefore what? Since over here most of the trachea is cut, so 2/3 was cut inside, that's going to be okay. So 2/3 inside and 1/3 outside will be okay. Aval higrim shlish v'shachat shnei shlish. But if you do the first third outside and then the remaining 2 inside, according to Rabbi Yossi, it would be pasul. Divrei kol psula. Why? You still did what? You still did 2/3 inside. Why should it be pasul? Because there's another thing that you have to take into consideration. It's not just that rove needs to be done inside of the Tabas HaGedolah, because even if you do 1/3 out and then 2/3 in, rove is done inside the Tabas HaGedolah. Because again, here you're going not on an upward slant, you're going on a downward slant. However you want to explain. You're going 1/3 out and then 2/3. Right? The other case was you were going 2/3 in and then out, 1/3 out. Here you're going 1/3 out and then 2/3 in.
Is it a directional thing you're saying?
It's for sure a directional thing, because again, if you're cutting straight like this, you're cutting the entire Tabas HaGedolah. So it sounds like in the other case you're going 2/3 like this, and then you're hitting 1/3 out. Here you're somehow doing 1/3 out. You could go like this, maybe. I understand. Either way, I'm just either top. No, it's seemingly it is from the bottom. You're right. It's 1/3 and then 2/3. So the question becomes, why should that be a problem? You're doing 2/3 in the Tabas HaGedolah.
First is bad.
Why? Divrei kol psula dechinafka chiyusa. So this part really threw me off a little bit. Not here. It throws me off a little bit later. Maybe you can help me understand it. That we say that when more than half of the trachea is severed, it's interesting. So it's not half. It's 51%, let's say, of the trachea is severed, then it's going to be dying. It's going to die, right? So what happens over here? So you're right. It ends up that, this is the way that I'm understanding it. It ends up that you cut 66%, let's say, in the Tabas HaGedolah. So really, it should be fine. According to Chachamim, nothing to talk about. Again, Chachamim are easy. Rabbi Chanina is easy. All can be out. All needs to be in. That's easy. Talking about Rabbi Yossi now. Where exactly is he going to argue? So for sure, he says that what? He says that if 2/3 is cut, if 2/3 is cut in and 1/3 out, he says that's good. 2/3 in, 1/3 out is good. But if you do, like you're saying, the other way, 1/3 in, out, and then 2/3 in, why is that bad? So the way that I understand it is as follows. What's 1/3 and 2/3? Let's just say a 6, because again, it's easier to understand. You do 2/6 out. When I go ahead and I actually kill the animal, when is that happening? If I freeze the frame when the animal dies, when's the animal dying?
50.
At the 50.1%, right? At that point that I freeze the frame and the animal is now dead, the majority of the cut has been cut outside of the Tabat HaGedolah. In this case, the second case, where you're doing 1/3 out and then 2/3 in. If you do 2/3 in and then 1/3 out, at the 50% mark, it was in, no problem. So originally we thought it means a rove, that at the end of the day you have to look at it and say a rove needs to have been done in the right spot. It's nice that she's saying no. A rove, up to and including the point of death, needs to be done, and then anything that happens after death, which makes sense, because we've said this before, anything that happens after death we don't care about. So over here, if you do a 1/3 out, which means 2/6 out, and then you cut the other 2/3 in, well, at the moment of death, when you then cut another 1/3, so 2/3 of the 3/3, where he's now dead, 2/3 has been cut out, only 1/3 has been cut in, and therefore, according to Rabbi Yossi, he would agree that in that case it won't work. So according to him, it'll only work if the first 2/3 is in and then the other 1/3 is out. But if the first 1/3 is out, and then even if the next 2/3 are in, it's not going to work. Because at the point of the death, the majority has been done outside. That makes sense. Yeah, it sounds easy now. It only took me 3 hours to figure that out. Okay, says the Gemara. Amalei Rav Chisda. So Rav Chisda says, so again, Ba'inan Ruba B'Shchita V'Laka. Fine. So there again, when the back is, when you've gotten halfway, 2/6 were already done outside the right spot, and therefore it's not going to work. Amalei Rav Chisda. So if that wasn't more complicated enough, so now we're going to give another possibility. Adarabba. Lema Marivcha. Master should say the opposite. Machloket kishehigrish shlish v'shachat shnei shlish. No. Maybe Rabbi Yossi would agree that if you cut 1/3 and then you cut 2/3, it'll be fine. Why? De Rabbi Yossi b'Rabbi Yehuda savar midei dahava achatzi kane pagum. It's similar to the case, and this was hard for me to understand, it's similar to the case in which half the trachea was damaged. That means, as he explains here, there was a pre-existing laceration through half of the trachea. And what do? You go ahead and you just touch the trachea. So again, 50% it's not dead. 51% it would be dead. So 50% is cut and it's not dead. Now what happens? And it's also not a treifa. It's not considered to be a treifa, interestingly. What do? You come, and if you place the knife right there where there's already a hole, and you just touch it, so what happened? We don't care that the rove wasn't done by you. It sounds like, according to the first opinion, what? You have to do rove of the killing. Right. You need to do rove of the killing, even if what? Even if you didn't necessarily do, right? You have to do rove of the killing. And it also sounds like you have to actually do the killing itself, in the sense that, why? 2/3, you did rove of it, and you actually did the killing. At the killing point, you did it. 1/3, and then you do 2/3 inside. That's not going to work, because even though you did the killing, right? The first, right? In the second case that we just mentioned, where you do 1/3 out and then 2/3 in, the animal's still dying when you're doing the killing. But it doesn't matter, because the majority of that first 50% was outside. So it sounds like you need to have the majority inside, plus you need to do the killing. According to this way of understanding, you don't need both. It sounds like as long as you, within Rabbi Yossi, as long as you're the one holding the knife when the death happens, it's going to be okay. So therefore, even if it was 1/3 out and then 2/3 in, it doesn't matter, because now at the moment of the cutting, at the moment of the death, even though you could say the majority of the first 50% was done out, at the moment of the death, it's similar to when the trachea was already cut 50% by itself. You just touched the knife to it now. You did the shchita. Sounds like, according to this way of learning, at the moment of death, according to Rabbi Yossi, you touched it. And therefore, Lamaisa, as long as the touching happened where? In the right spot, it's actually going to be okay. 1 second. So you see that again. All you need is that this minute cut, this little cut, even though, again, the part that kills the animal was in the mandated part, that's going to be kosher. That's what it says. V'Rabbanan hasa makom shchita, hachalav makom shchita. Rabbanan can say, no, I agree. In that case, where 50% happened, and then you touch it a little bit, of course I'm going to agree. Why? Because it's all happening in the right spot. It's all happening in the tabas hagedola. But in this case, but in the case where what? You have 2/3 in and then 1/3 out, divrei hakol kshera. Oh, sorry. Hachalav makom shchita. So according to Rabbanan, here it's not the makom shchita. Here, the first part is happening outside of the makom shchita. You're doing a 1/3 out. Aval shachat shnei shlish vehigrim shlish. According to this mandamar, hakol divrei hakol kshera datanan ruba shalacha kamo. So again, there's two differences here. In the first way that we learned, Rabbanan would say the entire thing needs to be taken inside the Tabas HaGedola, and according to Rabbi Yossi, even he's a little bit machmir, where you need to have the first third needs to be, the first 2/3 need to be in. Because the moment of the shechita needs to be in, and the rove of the first half needs to be in. And if you do the first third out, it won't work. That was the first mandelmar. Second mandelmar, which we're understanding now, is that even Rabbanan are going to be makil and say that if the entire thing was not done inside, it's still going to work. You just need rove done inside. Seemingly, again, 2/3 and then 1/3 out would be okay. Right? That's what he says. 2/3 in and then 1/3 out would be okay. And Rabbi Yossi would be even more makil and says that what? Even if just a minute part is done inside, as long as that's the time of the death, it's going to be okay. Those are the two opinions. Says the Gemara, Amar le Rav Yosef, Man nemalan daharuba dahasam lav Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketani la dilma Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketani la. Why are you assuming that rove here is like the Rabbanan? Maybe the rove is only Rabbi Yossi, like we were assuming until now. Says Gemara, Amar le Abaye, Atuko rube de Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketani lu. Are you suggesting that the Rabbanan don't hold of rove? If you're telling me that the entire thing needs to be done inside, like we've been saying until now, it seems like the Rabbanan don't hold of rove. Says Gemara, Amar le, no, ana ruba deshchita kamina, deshmanalu depligi. No, you don't have to go and tell me I have problems in all of Shas. Rabbanan hold of rove in Shas. By shchita, they don't hold of rove. Therefore, one can suggest that the Rabbanan would say that in the case, again, it would have to be the entire Tabas Gedolah. So again, these are the two ways of understanding the machlokes between Rabbanan and Rabbi Yossi. Sorry, I had a question.
There's a pre-existing natural laceration.
Correct, which is only 50% of the trachea, and you do the 50.1% time, you do the actual 0.1, that's fine as long as it's in the makom shchita.
Doing can live with such a.
Sounds like, I mean, I'm not.
It's not a
Gemara.
treifa.
Or it's almost.
It's not a treifa, the Gemara says, which is that's the part that's a chiddush to me, is that it's not a treifa.
It's almost dead, and you just finish.
But it would live, right? But it would live. No, it sounds like it's not almost dead. It sounds like it could live. I don't know. Clearly more than 30 days.
We're talking about
Treifa is 12 months.
A treifa would be 12 months. I'm sorry. So clearly more than 12 months, right?
Are we
It's
talking
such a terrible.
at this point in the Gemara? Are we talking about
Who knows what it is?
or an off?
I think we're talking about a behema.
So we're only looking at one simon, 50% of one simon.
Correct. The old Gemara. This is only talking about the trachea, not the esophagus. Correct. Okay, so those are the two. Now, this Lishna Achrina is just the same exact thing as the Lashon we just had. It's just different characters in the play. Lishna Achrina Amrila Amar of Huna Amar of Asi. Machlokas Shehegui Shlish V'Shachat Shnei Shlish. To Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda Savar. Midid Havachati Kana Pigam V'Rabbanan Hasam Makom Shchita Hachala Makom Shchita V'Shachat Shnei Shlish V'Hegui Shlish Divrei Kol Kshera Datnan Ruba Shalecha Kamo Ma'atzkla Rav Chisda Man Lemal Ando Ruba Dahasam La Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketanila Dilma Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketanila Amalei Rabbi Yossi Vatu Ko Ruba Dalma Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Ketanila Same exact thing. Amalei Anu Ruba Shchita Kamina Dishmana Lahu Depligi. So again, same exact back and forth, just different characters in the play.
This one doesn't say that you need. Doesn't it leave that out?
That was in the first. Again, that was the first of the two. This is the second. This is the second explanation of Amar Le'Rechis Adraba Lema Mar Ifcha. This is the second one. The second one doesn't say anything about the Malcolm Chiyusa. It was only the first understanding that it had to be the Malcolm Chiyusa. Fine, says the Gemara. So that was the case again. That was trying to understand, and we didn't come to a conclusion, but that was trying to understand exactly. Seemingly, the way we've been understanding until now would be more like the first explanation. That, again, the Rabbanan would say, they wouldn't say that rove is okay. The way that we've been understanding until now was like the first explanation, that the Rabbanan, again, would say that you have to have the entire thing within the Tabas HaGedolah. According to Rabbi Yossi, a third can be outside, and seemingly, like we're saying, it would be the second third, or the third third. 2/3 would have to be inside, which would be, again, 2/3, which would include more than half. It would be rove, plus it would be the actual moment of death is inside, and then 1/3 outside, because already the animal's dead, and 1/3 outside would be okay. That would be the pashut, simplest way of understanding. Says the Gemara. Now we have a few other cases, and this is not, again, Rabbi Yossi versus the Rabbanan now. Now we have two different Mandei Amars. Amorai. Higrim shlish, v'shachat shlish, v'higrim shlish. So what do you do? Out, in, out. So let's just speak about this outside for a second. Out, in, out. Rove of what? So what would you say? If you say that that's kosher, that means all you care about is that the time of the death, again, third out, third in, third out. It's clearly happening. The time of death is happening in the second third. That's a given. So if you say that that's kosher, third out, third in, third out, then clearly all you care about is that at the time of the death, you're in. If you say it's not kosher, it's because you need most of either the first 50% or most of the entire thing to be in the right spot. And either way, you don't have the right spot for the beginning 50% or the whole thing. Because again, a third, and then at the time of death, it's mostly been out. Or even if you look at it from the outside after the whole thing is done, 2/3 has been done outside and 1/3 has been done inside. So it says in Gemara, Higrim, Shachat, Higrim, bad, good, bad. Rafuna Marav Kshera. Rafuna says the name of Rav is kosher because seemingly at the moment of death, you were in. Rav Yehuda Marav Treifa, again, they're both quoting within Rav, both quoting within Rav, and that's important because we'll see in a second, there's going to be another case where they don't quote Rav. So Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda are arguing about what Rav would say. He said Treifa. Rav Huna Marav Kshera Kinafka Chiyusa B'Shchita Kanafka. That at the moment of death, it departs through the Shchita, it's in. That's fine. Rav Yehuda Marav Treifa Ba'inan Ruva B'Shchita Beleka. You need a rove, and therefore what? 2/3 was cut outside. It seems like the rove he's talking about here is again total. 2/3, but again, you could have argued that the rove here is also the first 50% rove of it was cut outside, because the first third was cut outside. Therefore, it'll be a problem. Shachit shlish. Now, let's say the opposite. Shachit shlish, v'higrim shlish, v'shachach. Now you got a third good, a third bad, a third good. So if you hold that it matters about the time of death, it's going to be treifa. If you care that it has to do with rove, whether rove of the first 50% or rove of the entire thing, since the first third was in, the rove of the first 50% is good. It's going to be 2/6 and then 1/6. And rove of the entire thing will also be good because you have 1/3 beginning and 1/3 end. Rav Yehuda Marav Kshera. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav is going to be kosher because again, we care that most of it was cut in a kosher spot. Atu Shailu Rav Huna. Again, this is important because Rav Huna now is going to answer not what he heard from Rav in the second case. He's going to say what he holds from himself. Amar Lahu, Treifa. In this second case, it's going to be Treifa, and that's what I hold by myself. Because again, same svara that I heard from Rav, that we care where you were when it actually died. Therefore, I'm going to say treifa because it died in that middle third. Shama Rav Yehuda Ikbid. Rav Yehuda was very upset when he heard Rav Huna. Amar charfina machshir uchmichsharna tarif. We know people like this. Anytime I say good, you say bad. Anytime I say bad, you say good. Amar Rav Huna. Hopefully it's nobody too close to you. Amar Rav Huna. Shapir kamikbid. So Rav Huna says he's right that he's upset at me. Why? Because in the second case, I didn't hear it from Rav. I was just making a conclusion, what I thought made sense, based on the first thing I heard from Rav. Again, I heard from Rav in the first case, bad, good, bad. It's good because the middle part was good when you killed it. So I'm assuming, therefore, that what? Good, bad, good will be bad because the middle part is bad. That's a logical conclusion, but I never heard it from Rav. So he's upset at me that he heard it from Rav. And the second reason he's upset is furthermore, rove of the second case is shchita's good. So why am I saying treifa? Amalei Rav Chisda, he has a good friend Rav Huna, says, don't be so quick to give in. Lo tederbach, don't retract your ruling. Why? Dim kain mafsadet lag lekamaisa. Because again, if you retract your ruling in the second case, where it was bad, good, where it was good, bad, good, and you say good, bad, good is actually good because of rove, then you're gonna have to go back on what you heard from Rav. Because in the first case of bad, good, bad, you said it's good. But if you're going based on rove, it's bad. So clearly all that Rav cares about based on what you heard was what? At the time of the death. So then you got to stick with your guns, man. And you got to say that at the time of the death, in the second case as well, good, bad, good, even though rove was done in the good, l'maisa it's going to be bad. Because why did you say it was good in the first case? Because at the time that the animal's life departs, the middle third was good, in the good spot. So too in this case, where the middle third was bad, you're going to have to stick to your guns and say, well, that's going to be bad, even though rove was good, even though rove of the first 50% was good. L'maisa, when the animal died, 50.1%, it was bad, you got to stick to your guns. If you change that opinion, then you got to go against what you heard from Rav, and that is not an option. That's what the Gemara says.
Doesn't the whole thing really hinge on exactly when is Netilat Neshama?
So it sounds like everybody's no, because it sounds, I mean, the way I'm understanding, everybody agrees that Netilat Neshama is 50.1.
Exactly, boom.
50.1 exactly. When you cut
40% the animal's not that.
Correct. 50 halachically.
Yeah.
Again, based on what we saw with the trachea, it sounds like 50% an animal can walk around with a trachea that's 50% lacerated.
It's not leaking.
For a whole year.
Solid.
He can only breathe at 50% of his capabilities, but he can go for a whole year like that.
Not necessarily. It's just a sliver, right?
Yeah, what does lacerate
mean?
mean?
It's solid. It's not like a vein or
Yeah, so
it's
that's what I don't
solid. So
understand.
no, there's a.
I definitely don't. You're a doctor. I don't definitely don't understand.
But there's still tissue around it. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's leaking like
Exactly.
a leaking,
That's why
leaking
it could
tire
live
that's
technically.
true.
No, but
it's not going to die.
You go boom and things wide open like there.
No, but the question is, didn't
We're
we?
saying it's not a trafer, because if it could live for 12 months, it's not a trafer.
That's what he's saying. He's saying even if it has a 50% cut, no, but Rabbi, the way they were understanding the Gemara is that if you would do a tiny bit more, it would die. So it can't be that it's just a tiny cut and then, because if you touch...
Halachically dead. There's a big difference. Like blood is not considered...
No, it sounds like halachically dead. It sounds like dechinafka chiyusa, that at the 50.1% mark, the animal's dead.
Oh, okay.
The animal's life is gone. It's gone. So it sounds like at the 50%, I don't know, but it sounds like at the 50% mark, it's not dead. And at the 50.1% mark, it's dead.
That's what the whole thing is hinging on that boom.
Right. Which is interesting. I don't know.
When you cut your meat, for instance, right?
Right.
So you're not allowed to eat blood.
Right?
So after you do the salting process of blood.
It's no longer halachically blood, even though you see blood.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a halachic.
So I'm asking you,
It's
so
not-
that, again,
it's a real
we agree. The question
I don't
is,
think the animal just stops.
we agree. So what happens when it's 50% lacerated, the trachea? What's it walking around? It can walk around like that for 20 years? Saying it's 50, and that's what I'm asking. I don't know either. So you say, I don't know. So you're saying it's 50%, but it's in a small 50, I don't know.
It's a knife in the trachea without the esophagus.
Okay, again, I'm just oversimplifying it for a Pasha guy like me. Anybody want to,
Step in.
anybody want to step in? We're looking for, fine.
The halacha concept, I mean, you know, it's obviously if you have a laceration,
Yeah.
It's a movie.
like
Just
one
tell you
more
the story
percent is
after.
gonna actually kill the animal, that's gonna be the thing where it's gonna actually
Chicken without the head.
biologically die.
Again,
Anyway, it's a halacha.
could be. Okay. Either way, the bottom line is that we have now that 50% laceration will not be a problem. Next, if you touch it, it's gone. Says the Gemara, Ikla Rav Nachman L'Sura. Rav Nachman went to Surah Bomine, Shachat Shlish, Vehigrim Shlish, V'Shachat Shlish. So again, this case of good, bad, good. Mahu, Amalu, Lav Hainu Dreb Elazar Bar Menyumi. So again, that case of Shachat, Higrim Shachat, according to Rav Huna, it's a treifa because it dies when it's in the invalid spot. Rav Huda said kosher because the rove was done in the right spot. So he says, Lav Hainu Dreb Elazar Bar Menyumi. Is this not Reb Elazar Ben Menyumi? Damar Reb Elazar Ben Menyumi. Hashchita Asuya Kemasrei Kshera. He's understanding that a shchita that's done like the teeth of a comb, and jagged is valid. So he's understanding that what he's saying is jagged, good, bad, good. Good spot, bad spot, and then good spot again. The Gemara is going to reject it, saying, maybe it just means that he went a little jagged, all within the Tabat HaGedolah. He just didn't do it 100% straight. He did it straight. He did it on a, even if he didn't do it on a slant, he did it straight, but he went a little bit jagged. It's obvious. Says Gemara, no. You might think that when you cut, even in the Malcolm Shchita, whatever that Malcolm Shchita is to you, according to Rabbanan, all in the Tabas HaGedolah. According to Rabbi Yossi, even a little bit outside the Tabas HaGedolah. According to Rabbi Chanina, even the entire thing outside in the Sheep Boy Kova. Whenever you do that, you think it has to be 100% glot, straight. Says the Gemara, it could be a little bit jagged. Kamash Malan, it could be a little bit jagged, but he's not discussing this case of shachat in good, bad, good. He's not discussing that case. Okay. Yosef Rabbi Avra Achori de Rav Kahana. Yosef Rav Kahana Kamei de Rav Yehuda. Shachat Shlish, Higrim Shlish, Shachat Shlish Mao. This case again. Amar Lahu Shchitasok Shera. We go like Rav Yehuda, as long as a rove was done in the kosher spot, even though the actual 50.1% part was done in the bad spot, shachat, higrim, shachat, it's going to be kosher.
He doesn't care when.
He doesn't care that the netilas neshama. He just cares about a rove. He doesn't freeze frame. Thank you. Higrim shlish, shachat shlish, higrim shlish mahu. So if you go higrim, shachat, higrim, what would it be? So again, according to this, you would say what? Amar leish chitaso psula. Again, it would be psula because the majority, either the first 50%, the majority of the whole thing is pasul. Shachat b'makom negev mahu. So what happens if you go ahead, again, if you have a trachea that's torn halfway through, and you slide your knife through the pre-existing tear and you make a little thing, so would it be okay? He says, Amar Lai, Shchidas Akshera, like we said, everybody agrees to that, because there, it's Ke'ilu, you're doing the entire thing. The fact that it was ripped 50% is not considered to be that you did half of it out. Sounds like the problem would be if you did half of it out, or rove of the beginning out. But since it happened by itself, if you just touch it, everybody would say that that's okay, because again, you're doing the killing, and 50% has not been done in a bad spot. Right? It's all being done in the Makom Shchita there. It's just that it happened by itself. But it's all within the Makom Shchita there. It's not like part of it was done outside. Because you finished it off. Shachad upagabo nekev. Let's say you cut in the right spot, and at the very end, you reach a tear in the back of the trachea, near the neck bone. So you cut in the right spot, and you cut all the way through, and you get to the back. Amar le shchitaso psula. It's puzzle. We'll have to understand exactly. No. You did everything you're supposed to do, but when you got to the back, you realized that there was a tear already, a pre-existing tear in the neck. That's going to be a problem. Why? Good question.
In the right place?
In the right spot. Sounds like. Azar Rabbi Abba Amar Kamei Rabbi Lazar. So what does he say? Azar Rabbi Lazar Amar Kamei Rabbi Yochanan Amar Lei Maishna. Why should it be a difference? Why in the first case, where it was pre-existing tear and you just finish off the 50.1%, halachically, however you want to say it, it's going to be okay. But in the case where you actually do the whole thing right, and then you get to the back and it's a pre-existing tear in the back, it's going to be a problem. Amar Lei, Shachat b'makom negev. If you cut it through the hole where it's already pre-existing, Nasa k'misha shachat ovei kochavim b'gamar Yisrael. It's like the ovei kochavim cut halfway, and you finish it off. Now this is very interesting because it sounds like cutting it outside of the right spot is worse than cutting it by ovei kochavim in the right spot, because we said there are opinions that say that unless he's holding not like that opinion, but there are opinions who hold that outside the right spot 50% is going to ruin it right away. Here, an ovei kochavim did the first 50% a row for sure, and yet it's going to be kosher because you finished it off. So either it's within that mandamar who just cares that when it actually dies, or it's within the mandamar who says that ovei kochavim, or you could say ovei kochavim is better than outside of the right spot. Shachad upagabonek, because one can argue that ovei kochavim would be the equivalent of it tearing by itself, which is what he's arguing. Shachad upagabonek, if you get it to the back, nasek misha shachad yisrael v'gamar ovei kochavim. This I found very hard to understand, because again, if you go past the halfway mark, which is done by what? Which is done by a Jew, then l'maisa it should be good. So it sounds like this hole is at the 50.1% mark. If this hole is at the 90% mark, then there's nothing to talk about. I don't get it. It sounds like the Jew did the first 50%, and then it sort of died on its own because the nekev was at the 50.1% mark. That's the way that I understand it, because otherwise, why would it be a problem? Says the Gemara, what?
Rashi said the pasul the haldo abi Yisrael shiur shchita bereisha.
Yeah, but why? But he did. Shacha nasek misha shacha Yisrael v'gamar ovei kochavim. Again, the part that went past the 50% was done by an idolater. Similar in this case, beyond the halfway mark, as soon as you get to the 50% mark, now 50.1% is this pre-existing hole. That's going to be a problem. So again, if the pre-existing hole, again, in Svar it makes sense. In Mitzvah it's hard to understand. But if the pre-existing hole is up to 50% and then you do 50.1%, good. If the pre-existing hole is at 50.1% and you do the first 50%, we don't care that you did rov, because at the end of the day, you're not doing the actual death. It's happening by itself. Kari aleh ovei kochavim ovei kochavim. Let's just say he didn't like this answer. He said, idolater. I don't know if he called him an idolater. He's saying, your svar is idolatry. Amar Rava Shapir Kari Le'ovei Kochavim Kochavim. It's good that he didn't like it. Bishlam Hasam. I understand where a Jew cut half of the trachea and the idolater finished it after 50%. I understand that it's going to be possible to Havalei Yisrael Mishchad Ruba. The Jew needs to cut, again, rov. And the Jew needs to go to 50.1% in order to kill the animal. He didn't do that. V'lo shachet. Kinafka chiyusa, when it departed, biyada de'ovei kochavim kanafka. So we all understand that. If the Jew cuts 50% and then the non-Jew takes over, and he does 50.1, even though the Jew cut the beginning, at the time of death, according to that opinion, the non-Jew did it. Elahacha, over here, where what? Half of it was already torn. Michte, mishchat shachet. So he cut the entire thing. Mali b'makom nekev, mali pagali nekev. Who cares? Again, according to this svara, who cares if the nekev was in the first 50% or was at 50.1%? This svara that if you cut the first half and then it sort of dies on its own because the nekev was at 50.1, why should that matter? Lamaisa, I got all the way up to that point. It's not like a non-Jew's taking over at that point. It's already been there, the nekev, and it should be perfectly fine. That's what he argues. You can't compare it to the case. Again, if you have a lach lamaisa question when you're shechting, ask your local rabbi. Says the Mishnah. A few more minutes. Says the Mishnah. I want to get a little bit to the next daf, because tomorrow's daf I have to do in 20 minutes. So I want to do a little bit more. So the next Mishnah. To catch a first year I'll do a little slower, but I have to catch a flight at 10:15, so I got to do the second daf quickly. The following Mishnah is Shchita versus Malika. So make sure you come early, Mendel. Says the Gemara. Malika, we know, is that when you want to eat a bird, so you have to do regular Shchita. When you want to bring a bird as a korban, then you have to do the back of the, something I said? Then you have to do the back of the, what?
Catch a flight.
He's got to catch a flight. He's got to catch a flight.
You have to be there 2 hours before. How can you make it in 30 minutes before the flight?
Doctor, if you don't let me finish today, I'm not going to make it at all. Says the Gemara. He claims it takes 11 minutes from the sidewalk in. So we'll try. Whatever. Okay. I have Nexus, of course. Nexus, valet. I got everything. Okay. I can't get the boarding pass. That's the problem. Okay.
You have your password?
Okay, let's go. Says the Gemara. Goodbye. Says the Gemara. Malika, again. I can't because my daughter's... Okay, whatever. Long story. I have a baby with me. Says the Gemara. I know. So Malika has to be done in the back. Shechita is done in the front. So again, an animal that you're eating, a bird, even if you're eating a chicken, you got to do shechita in the front. When you're doing Malika as an offering of a bird, then you do it in the back. Where's it done? So you take the right thumbnail, you pierce the back of the bird's neck, you cut the nape, which is the back of the neck, you cut the spinal cord, and then what? And then you keep piercing until you cut either one of the simanim, right? Either the trachea or the esophagus. And again, if you only need one by a bird, if you perform ordinary shechita for a bird offering, it will not be good. And if you perform malika on a bird that's being shechted, it's not going to work either. So again, for eating you need shechita, for offering you need malika. Says Gemara, shochei minat stadim, shechita sokshera. When you do shechita, it could either be from the bottom of the neck, or you could start on the side of the neck. However, milikaso psula, hamolek minat stadim milikaso psula. So again, the bottom line is going to be shechita can either be bottom or side, malika must be back. So therefore, malika on the side will be bad. Shochei mina oref, which we'll see means again the nape, the back of the neck. If you shochet from there, shechitaso psula. You can't shech from the back of the neck because again, it's got to be. You're going to end up making the animal a treifa before you cut the simanim, right? However, amolek min oref, if you perform the malika from the oref, then malikaso kshera. That's exactly how you're supposed to go ahead and do the malika. Even though, as he points out, you're going to break the neck, you're going to break the bird's neck bone. It's valid because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you to do. So even though you're right, you could have argued that it's a treifa before you actually get to the simanim or one of the simanim. Lamaisa, the Torah says, it's how you do malika. By shechita, it will not work. Hashochi minat savar shechita sokshera. That's how you're supposed to do shechita from the throat. Hamolek minat savar shmilkaso psula. Again, shekola oref kasher lemalika. The entire oref, which we'll see means the back of the neck, is kasher for malika. V'chol hat savar kasher l'shechita. Nimsa kasher b'shechita pasul b'malika. Kasher b'malika pasul b'shechita. Right? It's going to be the opposite. The top will be good only for malika, not for shechita, and the bottom and sides will be good only for shechita and not for malika.
All with the nail?
This is all with the fingernail.
For both, for shechita and...
No. What are you talking about? No, we're talking about malika. Malika has to be the back of the neck. Shechita, we're saying even if you take a knife, you cannot do shechita on the back of the neck. Shechita needs to be from here or from here.
I understand what they were saying. You have the knife for shechita.
You have a knife for shechita for sure, and you have a fingernail for malika. Why? As opposed to what?
There are two different ways of I'm trying to find a parallel. If they're saying shechita is the same way you would shech the bird with your thumb also.
No. I think they're saying shechita with a knife on a bird would be done over here or over here, wherever the malika. So wherever malika can be done, shechita cannot be done. Wherever shechita can be done, malika can't be done. But use a knife for shechita, use your nail for malika. My oref, what's this oref? That you do it, what? Minha oref. So Gemara is going to originally assume that oref means, or it's going to assume that oref means the back of the head, which is going to be higher up, let's say like where your tefillin is, and then the back of the neck is going to be lower down, like the top of the spine, let's say. So it has to be mul oref, the Gemara is going to say. The pasuk says it has to be mul oref. It needs to be viewing the oref. So what part of your body views the oref? The back of the neck views the back of the head, which is higher up. That's going to be the bottom line for the next few lines. My oref, elima oref mamish, my irya shochet, afilu molek nami. If you're telling me that you're actually doing the malika on the oref, the back of the head, malika is not going to work because it has to be mimul arpo amarachman. It has to be within view of the back of the head, which is the back of the neck. Velo arpo, not the back of the head actually itself. Elamai oref, mimul oref. Again, when you shech, it has to be mul oref. It has to be the view within the view of the back of the head, which is by definition the back of the neck, which we call the nape. Kediktani sefa kola oref kosher lemalika. The entire oref is kasher lemalika, and it can't be, again, it has to be a significant size. If it was the back of the head, it's very small. The back of the neck can be pretty long. So again, exactly where on the neck you do it is another discussion. Minani mili, how do you know this? The Tanur Rabbanan mimul arpo, mul haroa es haoref. Again, mul arpo means the mul that sees the oref. What's that? That's going to be the back of the neck, the nape. V'chein omer v'hu yoshev mimuli. That's Balak talking about the Jewish people are standing within view of me. Ve'omer ki panu elai oref elo panim. That's Hashem again talking about the Jewish people turning away from him. My ve'omer, what's this? Patzu v'chitema oref gufei lo yadin hecha. I don't know where the oref is. Deneda mul didei hecha. How am I going to know what mul oref is if I don't know what the oref is? Tashma ki panu elai oref elo panim. They turn the back of their head, their oref, and not their face. So oref is the opposite of face. Face is here. Oref is back of the face, which is the back of the head. Mul oref means mul, the back of the head, which is going to be, again, the back of the neck. So again, oref is back of the head. Malika needs to be mul oref, which is going to be within view of the back of the head, which is going to be the back of the neck, the nape. Amri b'nei Rabbi Chia, mitzvahs Malika, machzir simanin lachore oref v'molek. So he says, interestingly, you don't just do Malika. We thought originally Malika is done what? You put your fingernail in, you're able to go ahead and you're able to pierce the back of the neck, the spinal cord, you break the back of the neck basically, and then you get to the simanim. They argue and say you have to actually, and again, I don't know how you would do this, you'd have to actually, from the front, pull the two or at least one of the simanim, but he sounds like the pipes. You'd have to pull at least one of the pipes, what? To the back. So when you do the Malika, you're actually going in and you're breaking the back of the neck. You're actually doing the pipes in the back, and you're never getting to the spinal cord. Because otherwise you'd have to go back of the neck, spinal cord, and then the simanim, the pipes. Here you're pulling the pipes to the back of the head. Again, a chicken is obviously able to do that. It sounds like Sarah Bali Chaim to me, but you pull the pipes to the back of the neck, and then you go ahead, and when you do the Malika, you're killing it right away before you even get to the spinal cord.
How do you pull it back with a knife or?
No, it sounds like with your fingers. It sounds like with your fingers. Ika de amre. So there's two different interpretations of what this means. Does it mean you have to do it that way, or it means you can do it that way? Af machzir, you can do it that way, but again, you can also leave the pipes, the trach, and the esophagus in the right spot, in the regular spot, and just break the neck bone and the spinal cord, and then one of these objects. Or v'ika damre machzir dafka. You need to do it this way, and you're not allowed to break the spine. Because again, in the first case, you're breaking the spine. You're going back of the neck, spine, pipes. One of the pipes. Here you're doing pipes and back of the neck pipes, but not breaking the spine. So the question is, are the sons of Rabbi Chia saying you have to do it this way, or you're allowed to do it this way? Says the Gemara, mistaber command to amar af machzir. It means that you're allowed to, but you don't have to. Mimai. Midiktani, because it says, Ashochi mina oref shchita so psula. If you shecht from the oref, your shchita is pasul. Hamolek mina oref milika so kshera. But if you do the Malika, so then it's going to be kosher. So what's that implying? That the equivalent, like Rabbi Black was saying, the equivalent of Malika would be the shchita. Therefore, what's it implying? If you say you have to pull the pipes back, and you're saying that that's where you do Malika, so then why would the equivalent, says the Gemara, by shchita be a problem? If you're able to somehow pull the pipes back and do shchita from the back in that way, it should be kosher. Says the Gemara, it must be that what's it talking about? Shchita from the back would be pasul what? So therefore what? If you think that Malika has to be done with the pipes in the back, and therefore it's equating Malika with pipes in the back to saying the equivalent by shchita would be pasul, Mayir Yamolik. Afilu Shoche Nami. Even Shoche should be good in that case. Elalav Shmamina Af Machzir. It means you don't have to. You're allowed to if you want. Umasnisam b'delo hadar. And when it says that shchita is pasul, is when you didn't do it. But enachanami, it comes out according to this, that if you were able to, if you knew what you were doing, and you were able to pull the pipes to the back, I just want to go a little bit further. If you're able to pull the pipes to the back, and you cut them, then shchita would actually be kosher, because at the end of the day, you're shechting it, the point is that you shecht the pipes, and not that you shecht in the tzavar. It's just you happen to shecht in the tzavar, we say, because that's where the pipes are. But if you could pull the pipes to the back, it would work. Just 2 more minutes. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yanai. So they don't like this. Again, they don't like this idea that, again, so we're saying that what? That you're allowed to. Not that you have to, or else shchita would be okay. So you're allowed to. So they don't even like this fact. Amar Biyanai, Yikablu haroven esh chuvasam. May the lads, the sons of Rabbi Chia, accept the following refutation, which says that they're wrong, that you're allowed to even. Diktani nimsa kasher b'shchita pasal b'malika, kasher b'malika pasal b'shchita lemute mai, lav lemaute machzer simanin lachore oref delo. Is it not telling us again that what, when it comes up and saying whatever's kasher is possible there, whatever's possible is, is it not coming to exclude the case where you move the pipes to the back of the neck, that malika would not be valid in such a case? That's what the Gemara is, right? According to this understanding, the case where the pipes are behind the neck is the first part. What is fit for shchita is not fit for malika. What is fit for malika is not fit for shchita is separate. But what's fit for shchita, where the pipes are there, would not work for malika. Amar Rabbi Baruchana, no. Lo l'ma'ute shem v'tziporin. What are you talking about? They're right. You can do it like that. What's it excluding over here? It's excluding shchita with one's tooth or one's fingernail. You're not allowed to do shchita with one's tooth or one's fingernail. Malika is done obviously with the fingernail, which is attached. But you're not allowed to do shchita with a tooth or a fingernail seemingly that's attached, right? If it's not attached, we said that you're allowed to do it. Yeah. You could do it with an animal's fingernail that's not attached. Says the Gemara, Shem v'tziporin behed yakitani la. We know that what? No, we know that, again, according to this, you would think that it would be okay. Says Gemara, no. We know mefurish that what shchita with an attached fingernail or tooth is not fit, right? If it's not attached, it's fine. If it's attached, it's not fit. So what are you telling me here? That it's telling me that you can exclude shchita with one's tooth, even though an attached fingernail is good for malika, it's not going to be good for shchita. You can't use an attached fingernail or tooth for shchita. Says the Gemara again, attached tooth is just thrown in because I can use an attached tooth for. You're not going to take a live animal and use an attached tooth for.
No, it's the jaw.
Okay, it could be. Fine. He says over here that it also mentions a tooth, but it doesn't really mean a tooth because then you can perform malika with a tooth and you can't perform malika with a tooth. Okay, so let's just assume fingernail for now. Lol mutei shevet. So it's saying you can't do shchita with one's fingernail. We already know you can't do shchita with an attached fingernail. Only malika can be done. You're right. It's not excluding. So what's it excluding from shchita versus malika? What's it excluding? It's excluding molech umevi by malika. Again, something's being excluded from malika. So we're saying that what's it excluding? It's not excluding that you can't move the pipes back, which is what they wanted to say. So they're fine. They're allowed to move the pipes back and you can do malika that way. It's not excluding shchita from a fingernail because we already know you can't do shchita with a fingernail. So what's this excluding when it's saying not this and not that? That by shchita, not by malika not by shchita. That by shchita you go molech umevi, you go back and forth. Malika cannot be back and forth. You can't take your fingernail and go like this. Malika needs to be straight like this. This stuff is cool. I mean, it's very interesting, even though it's hard to understand. But instead of piercing straight, you would move your nail back and forth, sewing like that. That would be what? That would be okay for shchita. It's not good for malika. So how are they going to explain the Mishnah? Again, if they're saying that you can actually pull the pipes back, and that's not what the Sefer is excluding, right? Because if you say you can't pull the pipes back, then the Sefer is excluding pulling the pipes back. But if pulling the pipes back is okay according to the sons of Rabbi Chia, which is what they're saying, then what exactly is this doing? So this is excluding from going back and forth by what? Going back and forth by malika. But if you hold the man d'amar that says that you're allowed to go back and forth by malika, then what's it excluding? They hold like the man d'amar who says that you can't go back and forth by malika, and therefore the Mishnah comes out that according to them you can pull the pipe if you want. You don't have to. You could pull the pipes to the back and then just do malika like that. But when it says that malika is not like shchita, shchita will be kosher if you go back and forth, molech umevi. But according to them, the way you understand the Mishnah is that malika will not be good back and forth because you have to actually do the malika in one thing with your fingernail. Shkayach.
You just puncture